You're sitting on the couch, staring at a screen, while the person you love cleans up the mess you made. Look at you with that specific expression, the one that makes you feel like a child who just broke a vase. You know the look. It is the look of someone realizing they have to parent you. Most people think this is just laziness, a simple refusal to grow up. But here is what is actually happening under the hood. Your brain is not avoiding responsibility because you are immature. It is avoiding it because at some point, responsibility was wired to your nervous system as a direct threat to your existence. And there is a line between a man who is simply lazy and a man whose nervous system is frozen in a state of learned helplessness. Welcome back to Inner Script. Let us get into it. Let us start with the moment, right before the argument. You're standing in the kitchen. The sink is full. The trash is overflowing. You know exactly what needs to be done. You even want to do it, but your feet will not move. You retreat to the couch. You open a game or a video, and the person you live with walks in and sighs. They think you do not care. Turns out your brain is not broken. It is just running on a completely different operating system. What looks like apathy is actually executive dysfunction. Your prefrontal cortex is the CEO of your brain. It handles planning, initiating tasks, and regulating impulses. But when you are chronically stressed or emotionally flooded, the CEO goes offline. You are left with only the primitive brain. It only knows how to seek immediate comfort. So you freeze. Choosing the couch is not the actual mechanism. Your brain has simply stopped sending the ignition signal to your muscles. It is a car with a dead battery. Turning the key just produces a hollow click. But there is something else. Something that happens specifically when someone points out a flaw. You ask them to take out the trash. They say it in a tone that feels like an attack. Suddenly, you are not just annoyed. You are furious. Or you completely shut down and refuse to speak for 2 days. Why does a minor request feel like a declaration of war? Because your emotional regulation pathways never fully matured. When a child is criticized, their amygdala fires. It is the brain's threat detector. Normally, as we age, the prefrontal cortex learns to soothe the amygdala. It acts like a brake pedal. But if that wiring was interrupted, you lose the brake. Your emotional volume knob only has 2 settings, mute or absolute maximum. There is no middle ground, no gentle annoyance, no calm discussion. So when your partner asks you to do a chore, their voice bypasses your logic and hits your threat detector directly. You are not throwing a tantrum because you are a bad person. You are throwing one because your internal brake pads are completely worn out. And this is where it gets uncomfortable. This did not start in your 20s. It started in a house where the rules kept changing. Think about what happened when you made a mistake as a kid. Was it a teaching moment or was it a disaster? Maybe your parents were highly critical. Maybe love was conditional, only given when you achieved something perfectly, or maybe one parent was entirely checked out, leaving the other to manage everything while you were told to just stay out of the way. Attachment research shows us something brutal here. When a child's environment is unpredictable, they learn a very specific lesson. Trying to help leads to criticism. Trying to act leads to failure. So, the brain draws a logical conclusion. Doing nothing is the safest option. Psychologists call this learned helplessness. It is like being placed in a maze where every path shocks you. Eventually, you just sit in the corner, you stop trying. You wait to be rescued. That little boy, sitting in the corner of the maze, never actually left. He just grew taller. The man-child is not a man who refuses to grow up. He is a child who learned that growing up was too dangerous. But understanding where it came from does not fix what is happening now. The maze is gone, but your legs are still asleep. And the next pattern is the one that quietly destroys the relationship from the inside out. This leads directly into the next pattern, the retreat. When the real world feels like a constant stream of failures and criticisms, you need a place where you actually win. So you build a secondary world. Video games, obsessive hobbies, late-night internet deep dives. In that world, the rules are clear. You put in the work, you get the reward, you are competent, you are respected. People look at this and call it an addiction, or they call it childish escapism. Look at the mechanism here. It is actually a desperate attempt at compensatory control. Your nervous system is starved for dopamine and a sense of mastery. The real world only provides you with reminders of what you have not done. The fantasy world provides immediate, measurable proof that you are capable. Playing that game is not about laziness. You are playing it because it is the only place where your efforts actually yield a result. It is a lifeboat. You are not sailing around for fun. You are hiding in it because the main ship feels like it's sinking. But there is a consequence to living in the lifeboat. You start failing at the basic maintenance of your actual life. You do the laundry, and you shrink their favorite sweater. You cook the dinner, and you burn the kitchen. You try to manage the schedule, and you double book everything. Your partner gets frustrated. They say, if you are just going to do it wrong, I will do it myself. And just like that, you are off the hook. Treat back to the couch. Psychology distinguishes between weaponized incompetence, where you do it badly on purpose to avoid the task, and unconscious incompetence. For most men in this dynamic, it is the latter. Your anxiety around the task is so high that you self-sabotage. You are like a student who fails the math test, so the teacher stops giving them homework. It works in the short term. You avoid the pressure, but in the long term, you strip your partner of their respect for you. They stop seeing you as an equal. They start seeing you as another dependent. And the resentment builds in the dark. And this is where the dynamic turns toxic. You start to feel like the victim. You look at your partner or your boss, and you feel constantly nagged, constantly pushed. You think, why do they always treat me like I am incapable? You start to believe that the world is just unfair to you, that you are misunderstood. This is the external locus of control taking over. When your internal world feels chaotic, you project the blame outward. It is a defense mechanism. If everything is their fault, then you do not have to face the terrifying reality that you are the one driving the car off the road. You are wearing a heavy backpack, but instead of taking it off, you sit on the ground and get angry at everyone walking by for not offering to carry it for you. You genuinely feel the weight, but you have completely forgotten that you are the one holding the straps. This victimhood is the final shield. It protects you from the pain of accountability, but it guarantees you will never actually change. But understanding where it came from does not fix what is happening now. You can see the backpack. You can see the maze, but taking it off requires looking at the heaviest truth of all, the one that explains why this pattern destroys the people who try to love you. This brings us to the final pattern, the one that actually ends the relationship. When you force your partner to manage your life, remind you of your appointments, and clean up your messes, a fundamental shift occurs. They stop being your lover. They become your mother. Relationship researchers note that desire requires a bridge. It requires a gap between two equals, but you cannot cross a bridge to someone you are parenting. The moment your partner has to manage you, the polarity dies. Look at you and they do not see a partner. They see a dependent. They feel the exhaustion of carrying the mental load for two adults. And the cruelest part? You feel their pull away. You feel the loss of intimacy. And instead of stepping up, you retreat further into the lifeboat. You wonder why they do not desire you, why they do not want to be around you. It's because intimacy requires two adults in the room, and right now, there's only one adult and one very tired child. Your refusal to grow up is not just a personal failure, it's a slow, quiet eviction of the person who loves you. Here is the line. The line is not between being ambitious and being lazy. Society tells men that growing up means becoming a cold, emotionless provider, a machine. Many men reject that. They want to keep their playfulness. They want to keep their softness, and they should. The line is not between playing and working. The line is between using play to escape responsibility and using play to recharge for it. A boy avoids the mess. A man cleans the mess and then plays the game. So here is the protocol. 3 steps to cross the line. Step 1, micro commitments. Do not try to fix your whole life today. Pick one tiny task, the dishes. Do it before you are asked. Build the ignition signal. Step 2, sit with the friction. When your partner criticizes you, your amygdala will fire. You will want to yell or shut down. Do neither. Take one breath. Say, I hear you. Let the brake pedal engage. Step 3, reclaim the mental load. Ask your partner, what is one thing I can take off your plate this week? And then do it without being reminded. That is how you build the bridge back. The little boy in the maze was just trying to survive. He learned that staying small kept him safe. It got you here. But the maze is open now. You do not have to stay in the corner. You can stand up. You can carry the weight. Before you go, which of these patterns hit you the hardest? If this video made you feel understood, hit subscribe so we can keep breaking down the hidden psychology behind human behavior week after week. And if you know a man who is stuck in this exact loop, share this video with him, not to criticize him, but to give him the map to his own wiring. Thanks for watching.